Hey everybody, George Zimney here with Zeal Financial Group. Today we're going to talk about Sales Navigator. So this is our formal training on the Sales Navigator app. So by this point you should have already been through Reference USA and the A to Z database training and uploaded 50 to 75 new small business prospects and printed out that list. You'll take that list of all the business owners, their addresses, their phone numbers, and their sizes, and we're going to input that into your Sales Navigator app, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So welcome to the Sales Navigator training. I'm going to turn off the webcam. We're going to get right into it. Okay, so the very first thing that you want to do is you want to open up your iPad. You want to go to the App Store and download the app called Sales Navigator. It's a free download. Once you've downloaded the app, you'll click on it, you'll open it up, and you'll have three options of plans. You want to choose the middle plan for $5.99 a month. The next step is open up your Sales Navigator app, and we're going to get started with creating custom groups. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by a custom group, but the first thing you want to do is go to the green arrow right here, click on the group icon, click on the plus button. That will add a group, and then you're going to provide some names and different criteria to customize that group. So you don't have to use these exact groups, but I would say to get started, start with these as a foundation. As time goes on, you can tweak these and customize them to your specific prospecting needs. But you want to add a group called New Prospects. And the New Prospects group are going to be all the people from the Reference USA and the A to Z database. They're new prospects. They could be business prospects. They could be individual prospects as well, but they're new prospects nonetheless. You're going to create a group called Callbacks. And these are people that were new prospects that are now callbacks. You've made a connection with them. You've spoken with them. You've shaken their hand. But there's some call to action, a call back. They haven't bought a policy yet. You haven't done a formal presentation yet. Or they're in that in-between phase where they looked at it but they're thinking about it. You want to put them as a callback. You're going to have a group called Referrals, and these are your actual referrals, both businesses as well as individual family referrals. Reservice, so these are clients that bought a policy that you're going to come back and reservice a month to a month and a half later. And then you're going to have a client group. These are people that have purchased and own a family heritage policy from you, or they could be from somebody else. So the first thing you're going to do whenever you click on the little addition button that you just clicked on to add a new group is you're going to give the group a name. So start with New Prospects, and then you'll click on Assign a PIN. This will give your group a custom colored PIN. So as you plot these on your map and as you're going throughout your day, you know exactly what PIN you're going to, and it'll give you a better way to organize your day. So the next step is to assign that PIN color. In this example, the title that I gave this custom group is New Prospects, and the PIN color is green. So on this screen, what I'm showing you here is I've now created several groups. I've created a new prospect group, and the new prospect group will be identified by a thick red pin. A callback group, so I'll take a lot of my new prospects and I'll convert them or change them over to callbacks after I've spoken with them. Another new prospect group, which that's probably just a duplicate for your purposes, but I have business prospects and non-business new prospects. To keep it simple, you could lump them all together if you chose to. A reservice group and a referral group. We want to also add to that a client group. And again, you can customize these groups to what fits your business, your structure as time goes on, but start with the groups on the previous page to get going. And now what we're going to do is we're going to input the contact information into each new group and then plot them out on the map. And I'll show you exactly how you use that for your day-to-day activities. So now we're going to add contacts and prospects. The first thing you're going to do is click on the little head with a circle around it. It's right here. That will pull down this drop down, and then you will, just like adding a group, you will add a new contact with the plus button. And then this is what pulls up, is this screen right here. So the action is to click the contact button, click the plus button, and start adding new contacts. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your database that you printed out from Reference USA or A to Z, and if I were doing this in real time, it would be Friday morning or Friday early afternoon, and I would allocate 2 to 3 hours to input all my new contacts so I'm set up going into the next Monday. So let me walk you through adding a new contact. So this is almost identical to the previous screen. The first thing you want to do is you want to input their name. And if it's a business, you want to put the business name where it says first name. So let me go back and show you that. So if it's a business, you want to input the business name right here where it says first name. And I'll tell you why here in a couple of slides. If it's just an individual, or it's a referral, or it's a reservice appointment, you can put the family's first and last name here and here. And then from there, you'll put the business phone or the individual's phone number. In this slide, it just shows it scrolls down a little bit. And then you'll put their full address, their street, city, state, zip. And now you're just one step away from completing your first contact. The very last step is you scroll down a little bit further, you can add notes about that contact if it's going to help you in that presentation or that introduction. And then what you do is you choose which custom group they belong to. Is this a new prospect contact? Is it a callback? Is it a client? Is it a referral? Or is it a reservice appointment? And then you simply click Save. And then once you hit Save, it will automatically plot that contact onto your Sales Navigator map. And so you see here, this city, this is the city limits of Marshall, Missouri. And I spent about 15 minutes and plotted out about 15 or so new business contacts I took from from the Reference USA database. I plotted these out, and after I hit Save after each one, it plotted them on the map exactly in the location that business is located. So I'll read at the top. Once you input multiple contacts or prospects, they will automatically plot with their specified colored pin. And now you're almost ready to start your selling day on Monday by simply connecting the dots, prospect to prospect to prospect. So side note, as you're in the field prospecting and selling, you can always click on one of the red pins or the green pins or the different group pins. You can always click on one of the prospect pins and make changes. So, for example, if Monday morning you had a new business call and you go and you introduce yourself to that business owner, and as you're leaving that business, you set an appointment for a call back on Wednesday. They're a little more available on Wednesday, and you'll have the opportunity to sit down with them and do a full presentation. So originally, that new business owner was a new prospect. I click on their pin, I scroll to the bottom of the edit page now, and I see this. And I simply change that new prospect to a callback. And then let's say on Wednesday, they purchase a policy. Then as I'm leaving, I will take 4 or 5 seconds and change that callback now to a reservice appointment. Because I know that I need to reservice them in a month. And most likely up here, I'm going to add a simple note. And that note's going to say new client, something about something unique about the conversation I just had with them. So whenever I go back and reservice them, I'm back in Marshall anyways, because that's the community I'm developing as a professional in. And a month later, as I'm in that same area, I see the little brown callback pin in the area that I'm now prospecting in, or maybe I had a referral in that area, and I just zip on by because they're just a couple blocks down the street because it shows me on my Sales Navigator map, and I see that they're in a very close vicinity to where I'm working that day, and I see it's a reservice. It's the brown pin, and by this point I'm familiar with brown as being reservice. I click on them, I pop in, I say something unique about our conversation from a month or two ago because it's in my notes right here, and then I reservice them and make sure they receive their policy and go through that process. So this map shows the action of clicking on a pin, so exactly what happens when you click on one of the individual prospect pins and how easy it is to make quick changes, add notes, change that pin from a new prospect to a callback, from a callback to a client, from a client to a reservice, or what have you. So you simply click on it, and you see here it provides the name of the business, and this was Ashford Agency. The owner is Robert Ashford. It shows their address at 452 West Arrow Street in Marshall, Missouri, has their phone number, their address. Down here I can change the group, and then I can add notes right here. And I do so all by simply clicking the edit button. So as you go about your day, you'll start your day, let's say right here, and you just click on that pin. And that opens up their basic information. You drive there, you introduce yourself, you talk to them, you get T-approach surrounding that pin. After you work your pre-approach and T-approach surrounding that pin, you simply drive to the next closest pin. You click on it, it tells you what the business is, what their name is, you talk to them, you get pre-approach, you work your pre-approach, and look at this. You've got a referral right here. So they're right next to this new prospect. You drive to that referral, you see if you can catch them. Let's say you catch them, you talk to them, they buy a policy, or you set up a future appointment, and then from there, you get pre-approach and T-approach surrounding them. You work that. By this point, you haven't just called on 3 prospects. You've called on this prospect, you got great pre-approach, you made 3 new calls, 3 new business calls surrounding them, and that took up the first 3 hours of your day. You did a presentation to this prospect, you got great pre-approach on a couple small businesses surrounding them, that took up the next 2 hours of your day. Before you go to this one, you talk to this referral. They end up buying a policy. They give you another 10 to 15 referrals. They give you great pre-approach. You catch a couple of their neighbors just in that residential market. You set up 2 more appointments for a couple evenings later, and then you're right back on to your next prospect, and now it's 5 p.m. You've written a policy or 2 policies, and you've made 3 new business prospect calls, a referral call. You've talked to about 5 or 10 prospects or small businesses surrounding those 3 or pre-approach. And that's how you structure your day. And as you're going through this, you're making quick edits to these prospects after you talk to them before you go on to the next prospect or the next pre-approach call surrounding that prospect. So the system at a glance, I'm just going to read this to you, but I would encourage you to study this a little more thoroughly so you can properly roll out this system with it and really make it work for your schedule. But it's very simple. And I encourage you to follow this to a T to get started. Because if you follow it to a T, when you're in a position or a role as a trainer or a team leader, you'll be able to effectively teach your trainee or your new representative how to duplicate and replicate what you just did. It's very simple and duplicatable. That's what makes it so vastly different from the systems we've been following over the last few years. So I'm just going to read from top to bottom. On either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I would encourage you to do it on Friday while it still feels like a working day, to allocate 2 to 3 hours to plot out your next week by doing exactly what I've taught you to do, going through Reference USA or A to Z, and then plotting those new prospects in the Sales Navigator. You also, if you're a more experienced and established representative, you want to also, in addition to plotting your new prospects you're going to call on next week, you want to plot your referrals and any reservice appointments or callbacks that you can make. So you're going to, on average, input about 50 to 60 new small business prospects into Sales Navigator each week. prior to the week starting. Again, that's a Friday activity. And as a note, these small business prospects these are being worked in your prime activity hours, and those prime activity hours are not from noon to 9 p.m. like we've known them. It's not from a start time of 3 p.m. and work until 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Folks, this is going to give you the ability, because of the nature of the prospect, to work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and still get home to your families and still live a normal lifestyle and still get in 8 to 9 or 10 hours of activity and write business. You will, and you're in the first phase of your selling career, or as you're rolling this out, you'll still need to work a couple, 2 to 3 later nights until you build up your referral base and really get the ball rolling. But that's just like any new career or any new business, or anytime something changes or a new system is implemented, there's going to be a certain phase of extra sacrifice and extra hard work that's expected. So allocate an extra 2 to 3 nights of working till the 7 or 8 or 9 p.m. until you really build that foundation. But again, the days of working long evening hours are over. This career is not anymore a 12 to 9 p.m. or 2 to 9 p.m. career. So get excited for that. So here's what a normal day should look like for you. It should start around 8 or 9 a.m. And this is when your actual selling activity should begin. If you don't start early in the morning, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, and you're never going to have a chance to create momentum or set the right number of appointments going into the middle and end of your week to get the sales that you need. So you really have to, it's going to be a shift of schedule. It's an 8 to 9 a.m. start time. And you want to start with the closest Sales Navigator pin as you're getting to your community. It's very simple. You start with the closest one as you're going into your community that you're the professional and developing as the professional in. And that's when you'll make your first new contact. You obviously, with every new contact, you want to do your best to do a demo. But after you do the demo or set a future appointment, or they blow you off and you're forced to cross them off and move on, you want to try to get pre-approach. This is what they teach you, or what you've been taught in your corporate training, the 4 days at Sales Academy. You want to get pre-approach on 3 or 4 families or small businesses surrounding the prospect that you just made a new call to. And then you move on to that pre-approach lead surrounding that new prospect. So once you've prospected all the pre-approach, the 3 or 4 new pre-approach calls surrounding that Sales Navigator pin or that new prospect, then you move on to the next closest pin, and you repeat that step, and you repeat that step, and that's the bulk of the activity throughout your day. Because of pre-approach and the T-approach, each Sales Navigator prospect or pin will yield an average of 3 to 5 new prospects that know the business owner you just talked to. So that will open the door. As I explained whenever I took you through the map earlier, those 3 new business prospects you called on open the door to another 10 to 15 new prospects, just because of the credibility of that prospect. It's a business owner. It's not just a random Mrs. Jones down the street. This is a credible prospect that people know and they trust. So it's going to open the door with getting some very good pre-approach and getting your foot in the door with a lot of those pre-approach leads. So now at this point, you're simply connecting the dots. The beauty of this system is you will never have to figure out or think about where you're going to go next. Your new representatives, as you're training and leading new reps, will never have to figure out, what direction do I go in? Who do I go see next? Oh, maybe this part of the community isn't as strong as the other part of the community. Oh, everybody's elderly, or nobody's home, nobody has money. You'll never have those thoughts ever again. You will never have to figure out where to go next if you properly follow the system. All of your pre-plotted prospects are pre-qualified. That's another hurdle that we've come across, is when you go down the street door to door, unfortunately, you have to go through a lot of rejection and a lot of people to get to pre-qualified prospects, people that have money, that have time. Small business owners are already, for the most part, pre-qualified. As a small business owner, they're typically available or reachable or accessible during the daytime, and they have cash flow. They have money. On top of that, as I mentioned earlier a couple of times, they're a credible community member, which makes them a very credible source and a power name and a credible source for getting great pre-approach. So again, trainers and team leaders, your new reps will be able to understand and duplicate this new system, and that's why it's vital. If you want to be a prominent and growing leader with our company, in our industry, with our business, you have to adopt this system immediately, because the people you're training can do this on day one, but they need to see you do it. They need to see you have success with it. They need to see you on Friday plot out and get into Reference USA or A to Z and spend the 2 to 3 hours. They need to be belly to belly with you in the office or in that hotel room or in that Starbucks, wherever you're working out of on a Friday, to see you plot and set up your week for the next week. And then they need to ride with you for the first 5 days of field training, watching you and seeing you use this technology and use this system, because when they start on Monday, the week after their first week of field training, they can pick up their iPad, they can open their Sales Navigator, it's already going to be pre-plotted in there because you worked with them on Friday, and they can duplicate what they saw you do. Okay, so I wrap it up with this. Here's a question to ask yourself. How will this redefined system and technology help you recruit blue chip individuals who want to be a part of our amazing and growing company? So folks, this video is now available on zealfinance.com. So go to zealfinance.com and click on the training tab, and you can click on the link to rewatch this video or send this video out to somebody as a reference or a resource to help them understand and maximize the use of this technology. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Hope you have a wonderful day, and make this day count.